Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gregory Mason. Welcome to First Presbyterian Church for Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church's service. Thank you to the many who have already responded to our 23-24 pledge drive, Setting the Table. For those who have not yet responded, links for the pledge form or the auto withdrawal form to fill out or print and fill out are in today's email. Please get them in at your earliest convenience so we can plan for next year and committee members won't need to make any phone calls. Come on up, Carol. This is an important announcement. Please join your board presidents for a congregational update meeting this Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. The link is in today's email. There are some issues that need to be discussed that cannot wait for our annual meeting. Carol.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning to everyone here in this beautiful sanctuary and to all the YouTubeitarians in computer land. My name is Carol Smolinski, and I am the face, so to speak, of our auction committee. We are down to the wire now. It's a little less than 37 hours before the auction donation deadline is here. So please, we need your donations. If you are not strictly a computer person or you are still not sure what you'd like to donate, never fear, please reach out to us. The auction committee members are here for you, and we will gladly assist you. Also, do not forget to register on the auction website. You can't bid if you are not registered. Lastly, when the auction opens Monday, May 15th, you will see an incredible variety of creative and diverse offerings that will cover the spectrum from one end to the other. To make it even more spectacular, though, will be what you have to donate to make our auction a great success. Thank you all, and namaste.
Just a reminder to sign up for the May 20th Searching for Our Future workshop. You can still sign up. We'd like to get as many people involved to develop a common vision for our church. There are morning and afternoon sessions. The 8th Principal Committee is planning a field trip next month on June 3rd to the Milwaukee Art Museum to see the exhibit called Native America in Translation on June 3rd. Contact Shirley Reynolds by June 1 to sign up or for more information. On June 15th, the 8th Principal Committee is hosting a field trip to visit the Wisconsin Black Holocaust Museum and the Wisconsin Black Historical Society. Funding for this trip is made possible by the OBUUC Endowment Fund, which will cover museum admissions, lunches, and gas expenses. Contact Roseanne Mason to sign up or for more information. Offertory outreach applications are being accepted through the end of the month. Please share the application form. The link is in today's email with organizations interested in being our offertory outreach recipient for the next application cycle. The script order deadline is May 21st. Please join us for a talkback today after the service hosted by the 8th Principal Committee with Carl Fields from the Hospitality Center, who is our guest speaker today. We will take a 15-minute break after the service and then gather for a discussion with Carl about how we can be involved in creating the beloved community. This will be on Zoom as well. If you have digital pictures from Reverend Danielle's installation service and reception, please share them for our archive. Instructions on how to do that are in today's email. And we will be meeting here at First Presbyterian, it looks like, for the rest of this month at 11 a.m. I have a note from Ginny Holly, First Presbyterian Church member and fellowship chair. On behalf of our congregation, I wish to thank Olympia Brown Church members for providing all the delicious treats for the fellowship time at First Presbyterian Church this past Sunday. That was so thoughtful of your church to share those goodies with us. Also, we appreciate your taking the extra time to do the setup and cleanup. We look forward to possibly spending more time together in the future. For more information and details about these announcements, please see your weekly emails. For those joining us on YouTube, please log into Zoom after the service for Joys and Concerns, along with the talkback discussion with Carl Fields. The link is in today's email.
Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church. I am the Reverend Danielle Lindstrom. My pronouns are she, hers, and it is good to be together. Our mission as a church is to be a community of hope, challenging us to transform ourselves, promote love and justice, respect all faiths, and shepherd our planet. We draw from our history of truth and reason, religious freedom built on the foundation of love. We covenant to work to build beloved community. We covenant to dismantle racism and oppression. We celebrate that all lives are sacred. All lives are sacred. You are welcome here. This is one of the promises of our faith tradition. All of who you are is welcome in our co-created and shared sacred space. It is good. It is good to be together. We will begin our service with shared ritual, lighting our chalice. And Cody will light our chalice for us this morning. The chalice is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, the flame of community, rising always to meet us where we are. Our words by Adrian L.H. Graham. We kindle a flame of power, illuminating the holy in each of our faces. We recognize in the flame a passionate commitment to our shared faith. We are held and carried from day to day, week to week, in the shining of the light. The flame is mine as well as yours. We are brought together on this day, called to growth, to expansion within its glow. What does your heart know while beholding this holy fire? What does your heart know? I invite you to rise in body and spirit and join in singing hymn 1008. This will be in that teal hymn book, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, 1008. And if you need a hymn book, you are welcome to raise your hand, and we will bring some around.
morning, friends. I'm Abby Summer. I'm hanging out with all of our RE people for a while. So all of those young and young at heart, come on up. We have someone special to talk with you this morning.
So we are just delighted to have Carl Fields with us. So, Carl, what is your title at the Hospitality Center at the moment?
Interim Executive Director.
Executive Director and an organizer with Rick and Ex-Prisoners Organizing, and really a community builder as well as organizer. So we're delighted to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning, young people. How we doing? I wanted to take a few minutes to just say thank you for having me. It's an honor, a privilege. Certainly am humbled to be here. This is the work that we do, absolutely. I like your shirt. I was thrilled to be able to take a few minutes to talk to the kids as well and share the message of what we do here in this city, in this community, that we are all building together, because it's not a thing that has been built. It is a thing that we're continuing to build. And we're building it for ourselves, and we're building it for you young people as well. Hello there. Look at that little cute shirt. What does it say? So I appreciate that as a kid. This is where I grew up. This is where I learned my lessons. This is where I had love poured into my heart. This is where I learned the challenges of what it would mean to be an adult as well. And so the work that I do with the Hospitality Center, my title that I've had for years is Director of Community Engagement, is something that we do for not just that building and the people that come to it, but for all of the community. And I share that love and I share that joy as much as possible everywhere that we can. Oh, we have a hand here. Go ahead, young sir. Oh, thank you. Batman versus Superman, right? Right, of course. Thanks for noticing. I like the Minecraft shirt too. And I say we because the work as an individual is just me playing my part. The work that we do is for young people to be able to grow and be nurtured in an environment that is all inclusive, that is accepting, that allows for young kids to be who they are. And what I like about that is that I never foreseen such an environment ever being the case decades ago. I didn't think that would be a real thing. And I'm speaking to my own personal experiences as well as a black man. I didn't think that there would be an environment where we would get better as we moved along. It just didn't seem like it would be the case. And so for us to have a multitude of faces, a multitude of experiences, and a multitude of people from all walks of life in a shared space, no less. Thank you, First Press. We do this for a couple of reasons. I am a person who believes that how we show up in a space as individuals is important. And so I talk often about a spirit name that I was given some years back, and it is the elephant, particularly the soaring elephant. And I wanted to bring that up so that the young people knew that I identify with an elephant quite a bit. Two things are said about elephants that most kids know at least one. Anybody want to take a guess at what they say about elephants? Yes. Oh, well, that is an interesting one. That is, wow. You sure you aren't in 9th grade? 10th grade? Okay, well, oh, right. Go ahead, I saw your hand up. Correct, that is one of the things that is often said about elephants is that they have a great memory. And one of the reasons for which having a great memory serves them and their community well is because they know where the water is. And they trek miles and miles and miles in order to, take their family, take their community to the watering holes. Where are those watering holes in a community like ours? Where do you go to get your spirit fed, to get your soul fed, to get yourself fed? Yes. Also schools, that's right. Also churches and congregations. Also places like, the food box that's known by many names that is outside the OBUUC church. Just like the hospitality center. A lot happens at the hospitality center, a lot more than just providing a person with a meal. Although a meal is what feeds their spirit, what feeds their soul, what keeps your stomach from growling. Because, amen, it's something quite dignified about being able to move about your day with an adequate amount of nourishment in your body, amen? So, yeah, that's something that I particularly wanted to bring up. And so being, identified with that elephant is something that I really am humbled by. I have a lot of fun with that. I occasionally wear my elephant shirts, although I wore this cool shirt because I thought you all might like that. One of the other things about this work that I do, and what are you two there coloring with? What is that? What are those, cats? Nice. I'm a cat person myself, yes. I'm growing into becoming a dog person. It's a thing. It's a thing. One of the other messages that I had wanted to speak about, because I knew that we were going to see a lot of different kinds of faces, a lot of different age ranges. I wanted to speak about butterflies. Who likes butterflies? All right. Right? I remember when I was that age. Butterflies, particularly monarch butterflies, have a story that is powerful to me, always has been. Any of you know anything about butterflies? You two are rare. It's good. Oh, we're looking for hands. Yes, go ahead. Yes, they are. Yes. Okay. Well, be careful. Yes. They are very, very delicate. Yes. Go ahead. Me and you are going to be fast friends. Yes. Oh, got more hands. Go ahead. You first. They are different colors. Yes, that's a good one. Go ahead. Yes, they do. So what I was going to bring up was partly about them coming, out of a cocoon and, strengthening up their wings so that they can be strong and fly. But not this time. What I wanted to speak about with, go ahead. Correct. Yes. I wanted to speak about their migration. Yes. Always been fascinating to me. So there's this particular butterfly that flies over 3,000 miles from northern America up in Canada all the way down to Mexico. And it takes a couple of years to make such a flight. And because each and every time they make this flight, it's a new generation, which means that it's a new set of butterflies that are making this flight. It means that they haven't learned from the other set of butterflies. It means that they've learned it on their own, and they stick together in order to do it. I wanted to get a sense of how you all stick together to do what you need to do. You all come to church. Do you know each other well? Do you play together? Are you friends? It depends. Well, welcome to being a young person. Yes, this is true. This particular butterfly and the way that they do this was fascinating to me because I saw my trek as a kid growing up as a young person in that 3-year, 4-year span of making it to a place. And for me, that place wasn't Mexico, though. It was 5th grade. It was getting through elementary school. And I ended up at a couple of different elementary schools in order to make it through. And so I changed friends a lot. I met new people, but I managed to find a way to stay in touch with my old friends. And those friends had a similar belief system. You all go to the same church. You all play together often, as you said. And there are a couple different grade levels here. What's the highest grade level we got here? Okay. 7th. Okay. 9th, high school. 5th, okay. Yes. 3rd, oh, my favorite grade. Oh, man. That's when I learned that math was going to be real hard. Yes, go ahead. 2nd grade, okay. Miss Champion was my teacher in 2nd grade. Yes. 1st, oh. You don't know what grade you're in, young one? Okay. Well, I'm sure we can figure that out. Oh, okay, Jen, got it. Homeschool, okay. Well, I'm sure you are learning some things. And what is your name? Cody. Nice to see you, Cody. We met each other when, long ago when you were a lot smaller. You've gotten big since I last seen you. It's good to see you. Yes. 1st grade, okay. So tell me about, did I miss one? Go ahead. Kindergarten. Oh, man, that is when I ate all the fruit. 4K, nice. 4K sounds like fun. Sounds like not work. I need some of that in my life. All right, so those are a lot of different grade levels. You know what that means? That means you all don't have to be like butterflies and go through all of this on your own. There's somebody in this group that has went through that grade level that you went through. You could be talking to each other about that. You can be asking each other for advice about how to get through your grade level. You might have to come to church, play with your friends, and ask them because you're at home school. But I've learned a lot about homeschool these days, that it's a whole network, right? Okay, well, the next time, Cody, I want you to bring some information from homeschool to friends, to your church, and tell them what it was like. How does that sound? Can you do that? Amen. So I think that part of all of this and part of what it means to come and be in community like this that's particularly important to me is that as a young person growing up in Racine, we didn't have this often, or at least I didn't feel like we had this often. And so this is a different kind of circumstance that you all are going through right now. It's powerful to be with God and walk the message. And as we would say, as us adults would say, well, you might say, live the gospel. That is a powerful thing to be able to do in your everyday life. How many of you have fun at Bible study? I'm just asking it straight out. Oh, the religious education part of it. That is, religious education is what it is. That's right, and you're going soon. Right. And I saw your hand up. Religious education, yes? What about it? No? Do you go often? And how was that for you? Okay. And what else? What do you think about it? That felt like a answer. Right, there you go. So I also learned from my religious education days when I was little is that I learned a lot of lessons there that I carried into my adult life with me. And so a lot of you will learn a lot of lessons there that you will carry with you. But the biggest lessons that I got from that time frame in my life was that I love to be with people. I love to hear people's stories. And I always wanted some stories of my own. And so I began to learn about animals early on. And one of the things that I'm laughing about now is that cats are you all's thing. You seem to be having a good time with those cats over there. I think that's okay. We're going to take time soon to talk with the adults in the room, and we're going to talk about a message of community, and we're also going to nudge the adults in the room a little bit about how to build community stronger than ever, because we need each other in order to do this work. But I also wanted you all, before you all take off from us, to know that we're doing this for each other, but we're also doing this for you all. So we're hopeful that one day you'll be able to take over for us, because Lord knows there are just more broken bones to come, and older age is coming to us all. And so I also wanted to, well, hello there. Yes. I'm loving that orange shirt. Next time I come, I'll wear an orange shirt. Did any of you all have any questions for me before you be on your way, before you go? Okay, I wanted to get a, yeah, oh, yes. So you say no, and then you ask a question. Okay. Oh, so this thing on my foot comes from working too hard. That's what it comes from. Apparently I broke a bone in my foot a while back and didn't know it, just kind of worked through it. I didn't listen to my body when it told me I had pain. That comes up a lot. I'm surprised that it hasn't come up sooner. I am 78 inches, which means I am 6'6". 6'6", 6'6", yes. I do not play basketball, no. No, that's a real thing. Yes, go ahead. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Yes. So the doctors cut into me just a couple days ago. They told me to take it easy. This is my version of taking it easy. That's who I am. I haven't done much, though, I promise. I swear I haven't done much. So yeah, I'll be in this extra size shoe for about 6 weeks. But this is my opportunity to, take it easy and come and hang out and be in fellowship with you all and be in community with you all, because this is a lot of fun. Yes. One leg at a time. One leg at a time. Well, the boot comes off. I can take it off and then put my clothes on and then put it back on. So there's that. The wrappings and all that doesn't come off. So, yeah. It's not as cool as it seems, trust me. Right? Oh, they are inundating me with questions, are they not? I don't shower, not yet. I don't get in the shower yet, not with this. Not with this. I have to do other things to get clean. Well, thank you for your many questions, young man. All right.
There are many ways we give to the life of our church, and the monetary offering is just one of these ways. Each month, we partner with a local organization that is doing really great work in our community and share the money that we gather. Our partner for the month of May is the Janet Payne Foster Children's Scholarship Fund, and we are delighted to welcome Kayla, who's going to tell us more about our fabulous May partner.
Hi everyone, I'm Kayla Matz. I'm here in two roles. I am a member of the board of Safe Haven of Racine, who is the management for the scholarship fund, and I'm also the granddaughter of Janet Payne, who the scholarship fund is named after. So Janet, my grandma, began this fund 16 years ago to provide young adults in Racine monetary support as they leave the foster care system when they turn 18 to help them financially get established. I think it was Ruth Bradford Johnson who told me my grandma had come years ago to talk to all of you about it, and that my grandma explained quite simply, how many 18-year-olds do you know that are prepared to financially be independent? The answer is probably not very many. So my grandmother worked tirelessly to be a champion of children in Racine and felt strongly that young adults need and deserve the support of their Racine community, including financial support. For people who may not know a lot about Safe Haven of Racine, the mission is to improve the quality of life for youth and families through education, opportunity, and support in Racine through providing a youth shelter, youth groups, tutoring, science programming for girls through Girls Inc., and a daycare. So as part of this work and mission, Safe Haven of Racine is working directly with high school counselors in Racine to help identify and then support potential recipients through the scholarship process. My grandmother passed away this summer, and my family and I feel really passionate about continuing her life's work supporting our community's children and young adults. We hope that the Janet Payne Foster Children Scholarship Fund can endure and continue to support Racine youth for many years still. So my family and I, we really want to thank each and every one of you for any and all support that you give to this fund during this next month of May. Thank you.
Part of being in community is sharing our lives with one another, sharing our joys and sharing our sorrows. In just a moment, I will invite you to raise your hand, to say your name, and share a joy or a sorrow that is on your heart this morning. For our beloveds joining on YouTube, there will be a coffee hour, joy and sorrow after, before we have the conversation. I remind us as we're sharing that we are on YouTube, so our practice is to share our own lives, our own joy and sorrow. And once someone shares, we will do a sung response, "There is a love holding you." This is our opportunity to have a moment of connection, of hope, recognition, of prayer with each person who shares their life this morning. So will you join me in the spirit of prayer, the spirit of meditation, the spirit of focusing that which is most sacred to us? Spirit of life, it is good to be together. Here, may we be reminded of our highest aspirations to care for one another, to listen deeply, to hold the spirit of care, of community, to do the hard work of growing, knowing that's part of who we are, part of why we come together. To be here with our beloveds, to hold one another as we share our lives, as we share our joys and our sorrows. If you have a joy or sorrow, I invite you to raise your hand, and we will have Gregory light a candle.
Good morning, I'm Rachel Jobaugh. A wonderful spot of joy occurred on my balcony. I live on a second floor condo, and I went out one morning and I saw this nest on my chair out there, and I thought, who put that there? And then I walked over to it, and there was an egg in there. I thought, oh, okay. And I was worried about the robin because I wondered about, is she getting enough nourishment to make more eggs? Well, about 2 days later, I took some raisins out to hopefully feed her, and there were 2 more eggs in there. So I've been watching her every morning and every evening, and she sits on that nest dutifully, like all mothers should do to care for their young.
We will light one candle for our beloveds joining us online. We will light a final candle for all of the joys and all of the sorrows that remain close to our hearts. We are all in this together, brought together by hope, held together by love. Amen and blessed be. I invite you to join me in sung response. This is in the pew packets. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding us.
All right, that was a little bit of a challenge there, but it's all right. It's all right. I'm getting the hang of it. So let me just adjust this a little bit because this is also a norm. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I appreciate you having me and my lady today. I was given the opportunity to come and I was given the opportunity to come and speak with you all today. And it came up that talking about community was something that OBUUC would want to do and want me to be a part of that. I thought that was great. I try to both lead by example, but also follow the examples that have been set in our community currently, and there are quite a few. OBUUC is one of those churches that is leading the way, leading the charge in building a bridge between different understandings of what the Racine community is and what it can be. Because I can tell you firsthand that Racine community gives different experiences to different people. And that isn't always by choice. There are a number of different people who don't know how to access the beautiful gifts that exist in Racine, the warm, kind nature that exists in people like yourselves here in Racine. And so sometimes people need a little help to be able to do that. And so when we find ourselves in community like this is a concerted effort to have community and build community. This needs to be shared outside of these halls, outside of these walls. What does that look like? And how do we do that, as they say, deliberately and intentionally? How do we take the love of God that we have inside of us, use it well, and help others to understand that, help others to see that, help others to have an understanding of that for themselves? It's an interesting mission. It's the kind of thing that every particular church, every particular denomination has a version of how they go about doing that, but we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to live the truth. That is our truth. That is grace and mercy is the reason why we're here. And having a sense of grace as we move through this world is what we're trying to share. That's something that, and there are quite a few of my friends here. I should have known that there were going to be quite a few people here that I would know directly, but that always surprises me. But this is Racine. I've been humbled by the fact that that kind of grace and mercy is the reason why I'm able to stand before you today. I am the director of a program that years back I was a volunteer for. And when I started as a volunteer, I started picking up cigarette butts in the front with a little vest on and no job prospects whatsoever. And here we are 7 years later, and, all reports, bean counting and, sanitation engineer work all run through me at this point. How that happens, I don't know. That's but God. I'm thankful for that kind of experience, but as a lot of people in this room know, I also do that work because that's been my personal experience as well. Once upon a time when my mother was here with us on this plane, her life experience was similar to the people that I see every day. And when she left, I told myself that I'd figure out a way on how to honor that memory, honor what she taught me, and help those lessons be a part of all of our lessons. OBUUC is one of those places, one of those congregations that has taught me those lessons for all the years that I've been here, and intentionally and deliberately for the last couple years. We've been in close walk with each other, and we've been doing the work together, and I'm greatly appreciative of that. But I say but because how do you live that out loud? What does it mean to you all to be a part of the UU Church? What does that look like? And how do you explain that to other people? A lot of questions I'm sure you get all the time about what's the difference between, Universalist Church and a different denomination. What's the difference between how you all practice what God teaches you and how others practice what God teaches you? What does that conversation sound like? What does it mean to be brave and curious, compassionate? What does it mean to be that kind of a thinker, that kind of a doer? I ask because that is how the UU promotes itself. I ask because people will ask. They want to know that sense of joy that you get from the services that you're a part of. How, and they may not know how to ask, but they're asking, how do you pour that kind of joy into their cup? Is that possible? Can you share that with them? Would you want to? Like that is a question that comes up quite often. And being downtown where we are with Hospitality Center, I get all of the questions about all of the churches, especially those in close proximity. And one of the churches that gets mentioned often is the church with the little food box around the corner. Like, what do they do? And I ask our guests all the time, have you gone and talked to them? And they say, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And it's like, why not? Oh, they don't accept my kind, or they don't accept people like us. And I ask them, like, and how do you know that? Is that an assumption? And they're like, no, I just know. It's just a feeling. The dialogue that we go back and forth with, that we have, is that I tell them all the time, unless you know, you don't know. And I ask them often, do you feel welcome here in our space? And they say yes. Would you see yourself coming back to this space here at Hospitality? And they say yes. And I say, would it interest you to know that the UU around the corner supports our mission here? And they say, how so? Yeah. We're in community in the same way you and I are in community right now. Now, a lot of different congregations may support what you do, what you need, and you might not know it. I would ask you as a person to open yourself up, to allow for that understanding to flow in, to allow for that conversation to happen. And so, yeah, it's to the point now where a lot of people take a lot of things that we give away to reload the box that UU has out front. And they check it often, and they tell me when it's getting low. And they say, well, you should call somebody over at the UU and tell them. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is an interesting transition in the span of 3 months, to go from not wanting anything to do with the interesting church around the corner with the Black Lives Matter sign, to wanting to help them in the mission, to walk with them, to walk alongside them. So I wanted to share that experience with you all. That's what we have over at Hospitality Center. It happens often. And a lot of people are both grateful and, in their minds, supportive of, but honestly are contributors to that small effort that you all have in that box. When you put food there, when bread goes there, it's so much more than bread and a few canned goods that's going into somebody's bag when they take that from there. Like, they know that there's love over there and that there are people thinking about all people. And that is a radical hospitality approach to the work that we all do. I've struggled with that for years, trying to figure out who, trying to figure out where that kind of work is being done, that all-inclusive, addressing disparities, addressing history that is clear head on. What does it mean to drive right into that and say we're doing this with dignity and respect at the forefront? What does it mean to do that work, saying that we know that bad choices have been made and we're still living with the consequences of that? And we're going to live our faith out loud in a way that both is restorative, that is respectful, that is also dignified and inclusive. All the good words that we all been using, except they're actionable. You can't get any more actionable than having a sign right up front on top of your church that says there's a particular set of lives that have disparities attached to them, and we're going to lift that up because we know that's a truth. That is about as loving and controversial as you can get. And it makes sense to make sure that that radical inclusiveness can happen in this city. I mean, so I'm black. You might not know this, but I'm black. And I was quite surprised when I saw the sign. And the first thing I did was call my buddy Nick, and everybody knows Library Nick, and said, Nick, what's going on with your church, man? I saw the sign. He's like, yeah, it's righteous, isn't it? I'm like, well, yeah, it is. It's quite righteous. How can I help? He's like, oh, you wanna help us paint another sign? I was like, no, I see that a representation of all people, not just people who are doing okay and want to learn about the gospel, but people who are struggling and have no idea how to come and learn about the gospel. Like, that's an invitation. I see people every day that come to our place to get a meal and don't know the first thing about what it means to be civil, what it means to be nice. Maybe they know what it means to be kind, but they don't want to be. Their experience has taught them that being kind gets them pushed around, gets them, messed over. But they come for a thing that we have, and they're willing to have a conversation in order to get it. They're willing to walk through our doors and come to, in the beginning, what's an uncomfortable space to get it. We use that as an opportunity to help people to be their best selves as much as possible. To us, that best self involves helping people live their values. If my truth is that I'm struggling, my mental health is beating up on me, I don't have a roof over my head, and I have to fight to keep my meals to myself and my blankets dry because it rained yesterday and it's going to rain again today. That's a truth that has a reality that a lot of people don't know much about. When I come to your place, when I come to your church, when I come to your facility, and I'm speaking that truth, don't shut that down. Accept that that's my reality. If you want to help me with that reality, express that. And have a number of different ways on how to express that. I've said many times to people that God loves you and God wants you to be able to express how you feel about right now, your experience, how you feel about what you need, and if you want to come to church or not. And I've been shut down many a times. I've been cussed out because of that. A couple of different things happen to me when I speak in those terms. But they also don't leave. They also stay. They also say, I really do want something to eat. I really do want somebody to explain to me my current circumstance because I don't understand it. I've seen firsthand people at OBUUC do that. I've seen people in the downtown area fight for the dignity and rights of people who are struggling in this downtown area and the greater Racine community as a whole. My question, though, is how do we do that together? How do we do that more? How do we do that out loud? And what does that look like? Because we can do the work all we want. If the people who need to see it, who need to benefit from it, who are also us, because there is no us in them, there's just us. If the people aren't seeing the work, if they aren't moved by it, if they aren't invited into it, then in effect what we're doing is doing the work for them without them. And when we have that kind of scenario, we have a saying in community organizing and in activism that anything you do for me without me, you do to me. And so, well wishes, well-intentioned work is respectable. But bringing people into the center who are living that truth that we're trying to change is ultimately how we get this done. And we get this done in that way because that's how we live the truth of the gospel. That is how our faith becomes alive and electric in our lives. And it is some of the most courageous work you can do, because when you speak to the fact that a city like Racine, according to the United Way numbers, 56.4% of Racinians in the city don't have enough money and means to get through their month to both pay their bills, feed themselves, sustain themselves. Like, when you put that truth front and center, that means that the majority of our city is working poor. It means that the majority of our people are struggling to get by. If we don't have the courage to drive right into that, walk right into that and do that work with people who are living that, then what are we doing? If our faith doesn't empower us enough to call that out and call that what that is, and then walk with people, how do we expect anyone to ever actually walk with us? Because that's what we need. We need for people to walk with us as well. It's not just us walking with them. We're building community in a way that looks like all of us. And yes, black, white, and brown is a particular dynamic that is hard to pull together and do well. But it's also because of the historical language that goes along with that has kept us apart, that has kept us separate. And again, another truth that is hard to speak to and drive into, but we have to in order to make this a great place. My commitment and my passion to this city, it comes out of what my mother thought about this place. And I don't stop talking about it, especially this last month since, family resolution came to pass in the way that it did. So I definitely don't stop talking about it now. But the work that I do because she loved this place before she died. As a kid, I had no idea what that meant or why. But she had a passion for Racine. And her mental health, her addiction, and her homelessness overtook her in ways that we just couldn't help her with. My opinion, that didn't have to be. Which is why I do the work that I do with the passion and the drive that I do. And I also invite as many people as possible to come into that community circle with us to do that work. We honestly can do that work from anywhere, because the work that we do at Hospitality Center, OBUUC does from both its church, the many different other churches that they're in partnership with, and they do it from a food box that almost everybody in the city knows about. Like, that box is more famous than a whole lot of individuals that I know. And that's saying something. That means that that's a touch point in this community. Having a flyer up on that box, you have no idea how many people are going to see that and how many people are going to spread that word. Having, bread in that box on Thursdays, or canned goods on Wednesdays and Fridays, or having, a summary of what happened at church the following Sunday or the previous Sunday, like, that message gets out there. That is how we spread community. And I can't tell you lightly how much, when I first learned about the box and saw its reach and its range, I thought about an old commercial, an old Johnsonville Brats commercial. When the guy's in the backyard cooking, and neighbor looks over the fence and says, "What are you doing?" He's like, He's like, "Don't tell anybody." "Sure, I won't tell anybody." He turns around and just yells it out, "Jimmy's cooking Johnsonville Brats." And then the whole neighborhood comes. When I first learned about the box and saw its range, that's what I got from it. I'm like, wait a minute, this is just like the commercial. There's joy in that. That's a win. It's a powerful win. Yeah, we're talking about people who don't always vote. Yeah, we're talking about people who don't always have a place to stay. Yeah, we're also talking about people who barely have those things and are holding on with a set budget. And yet we're still talking about people. People first is what we do, is how we do it. That's the language that we use, and that's the approach that we take. How do we do that in a way that moves the needle forward in our city? How do we lift up the powerful, righteous, and progressive history as a city that we have? This congregation here, this church here, being one of those places with such a powerful history. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Underground Railroad and its tie to this very space, to this very building. I mean, we all know it, but how does that powerful, strong, enlightening history empower us today as a people? We can do better with that. We can do more with that. I, as an ex-knucklehead turned professional, have made the criminal justice work and the criminal legal system work my particular fight. I believe in second chances. I believe in third chances. I believe in investment in people so that we can get a payoff that pays well for all of the community. I think that we can do that with our resources, and we currently don't. And so the criminal legal system is something that I fight hard for, to bring some light to, bring some dignity to, and hopefully some real reform and change to. That starts wherever you are. In our community, it starts literally across the street with the courthouse and the county jail that has almost 1,000 people in it. In our work, and I say this much to close out because I'd like to simply just leave you with some things to think about and how you can get involved and get engaged. Racine Interfaith Coalition, we have a couple of different things going on. And we're connected to a couple of different pieces of work here in Racine, in Greater Racine. One that you all know about with OBUUC is the bail fund that we have, and that is bailing people out, getting people out of jail for a number of different reasons. I know that that's quite a controversial thing to say, so I lean right into that. Bail in the building across the street, incarceration and holding people in those kinds of spaces should be about safety. It almost always isn't. It's usually about economics, which means that people are incarcerated for poverty reasons, which means that it is a debtor's prison sort of scenario. When a person is set a $200 bail that they can't pay, and they've set that as punishment, not because they're a danger to themselves or the community, and they sit in that building for a month, it costs over $100 a day to have that person in the building. So the community as a whole just spent a couple $1,000s to hold this person who's not a danger or a threat when their bail was a measly $200. I promise you, this is a common occurrence. That's one of the things that the bail fund is working to change and bring some restorative pieces to our community as we do so. Another is called the Participatory Defense Network, which is being built and currently a part of what we all do. That network is a person who has an interaction with court, a community is around them to walk with them so that the best just outcome can happen, so that justice, which is a healing, or at least in theory is supposed to be a healing mechanism, can happen. And the third component is what we call court observer training. Think of it as all of my collegiate friends in here. Where you at, Doc? Oh, there you go. It is a community audit of sorts. And court observer training is what we do at Racine Interfaith Coalition specifically. We teach people about what court is. We train them in the language of court, the particular vernacular and jargon that go along with that. Why? Because court is the sort of place that you're only there if you either work there or you are a recipient of the justice that they are doling out. Outside of that, nobody really goes to court. And so it is a mechanism that, in a sense, operates with certain kind of oversight. We feel that as a community, the amount of justice that makes sense for all of us means that we all have to get into that building to see what's going on. It's not us impeding the work that they do. We want for communities to be safe. We want for neighborhoods to thrive. And we want for people to make smart choices, better choices, righteous choices. But we want for that process to happen across the board, righteously, fairly, squarely. And statistics says, time and again, that has not been the case. And so our court observer training is about informing community members, helping them to see what that looks like, going into court and watching court cases play out. And with all honesty, I can tell you, to go into court and be there for any amount of time, you're going to see a couple different things, and they're going to be stark. You're going to see a person who has a lawyer that they've been able to retain because they have the means to do so, and the court is going to respond to that person and their lawyer a certain way, a way that probably would make sense to you, like, yeah, this seems fair and just and impartial and innocent until proven guilty. You'll then see a person that comes from upstairs. They're usually in orange, they're usually in shackles, and they usually have an attorney that was assigned to them because they don't have the means to do so. The court and the environment of the court changes usually. Not always, but usually. That person is not afforded the ability to speak. Their attorney isn't afforded a certain kind of moment to address the issues of the court. That person it will look like that person isn't afforded the opportunity of that presumption of innocence to work for them. And I've seen it many times. And if you think that is either an exaggeration, an embellishment, or just a flat out inaccurate statement, I nudge you to come to our court observer training and then come to court and see it for yourself. You want to change what it means to have a different kind of black, white, and brown conversation in Racine, you gotta get in it. What do they say about, well, I'm a football person, so there's that. But in order to win the championship game, one of the first things you gotta do is get in the game. You gotta be in the stadium. You gotta be present. This is our version, like I said, the criminal legal system of getting everyday people involved and getting them in the game. And I'm speaking to you all because this is how we, in our way, live our values, live our truth. We want for there to be safe, secure, positive, progressive communities where we utilize our tax dollars well. It'll be by talking to people who live in areas that currently aren't as safe as they could be. I can promise you they want safe streets, gun-free zones, and communities that are invested in same as anybody else, maybe more. But what does our conversations look like with them? We need more people who want what it is we want to be with us, to stand with us. And to make that happen, we have to start talking to each other, which means we have to talk to them, which means we have to know how, which means we have to have courageousness to do so, which means we have to be nudged in some ways that make us uncomfortable. This is why every time the idea of safe communities and race and the criminal legal system come up, that word courageousness and comfort, those two words come up and they're side by side. It's uncomfortable to talk to people we don't know. It's uncomfortable to talk to people we're unfamiliar with. It's uncomfortable to talk to people that are all deemed to be more dangerous than not, the probability of. I choose to live my truth in what God shows me every day in my life, that grace is real, that a connection between all of us is natural, and that we should be striving towards building that and keeping that with each other. And so with that, I will finish up and just say that I will be around to talk a bit about it. If anybody wants any extra feedback about the things that I mentioned, the pieces in which you can get involved, I will be around, and thank you for the invite, Pastor.
Thank you so much again, Carl. And so after the service here, we'll take a couple minutes to, maybe 10 minutes or so, to grab some snacks and coffee and things, and then we'll come back in for conversation. I invite us all to rise in body and spirit, join in singing hymn 121, We'll Build a Land. extinguish our chalice. But not the light of this community. That light cannot be extinguished, for it lives in each of us, reminding us we are connected, held always in a larger love. Our worship is over, our service begins. May we go forth living this faith loudly and boldly and honestly and challengingly. And what were some of those other really good words that we were just talking about? May we go forth building this community that we know is possible here in Racine. May we listen. May we build these relationships. May we be well. May all be well. May we go forth and do good in this world until we return again. Amen and thank you. In honor of being in somebody else's house, if you could grab your hymn books and take them with you to our lovely portable totes here, that would be really helpful. Please grab some coffee provided by First Pres. We have some snacks, and then we'll come right back in here.
Okay, Harv.